All right, guys, this is recorded. What we are doing, what we are talking about is the Tony Robbins convention that a couple of us went to last night. So we have lots of exciting things to share with you guys. We've got a lot of people that went that want to share some ahas. So I'm Danielle Janiczeski, for those of you that don't know me. Amanda Busher is also going to talk, and we kind of brought our teams together. So Amanda, do you want to say hi real quick?
Oh. Hi guys, how is everyone? We're just so excited because I don't know, yesterday I remember Cammie said when I think it was when I was on like the surf and turf, and she was like, whatever, it was either Pam or Cammie, and they're like, whatever, she's like, my biggest tip is to go to outside source like events like what we went to yesterday. And so I'm like, okay, anytime that there's something like that, I'm gonna book myself at least one, like, you know, maybe twice a year or whatever the case is, whenever they come. This was my very first event that I've ever been to like this, and it was just so mind-blowing. And I came into this event fired up, just, you know, just ready to end this year super strong, but I just came with more fire in my belly, or came out of it with more fire in my belly. And so, you know, when we say like get to events, like all events like this is just so important. So we're just excited to share with you guys just some stuff that really just helps, you know, just trigger that fire in our belly. And, you know, hopefully we can get that fire in your belly even higher.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to try to keep this around 45 minutes. So we are going to talk fast, and that means you are going to have to write fast. So get out a pen, get out a paper. You guys are going to learn so much. I'm going to go first just in case the kids start to whatever. And I have a couple videos. I'm going to share the links in the chat. So let's get active in the chat. If you guys have things to share, if you guys have questions, let's keep everything in the chat. And I'm just going to kind of get going. Guys, I took some videos, I took some notes, I went through and I just like highlighted a couple things that I'm just going to touch on real quick. And if anyone wants to hop on, like Amanda, any other leaders that were at the convention, if you want to add anything, by all means, go ahead. So I'm going to go quick. Robert Herjavec, his story really was pretty amazing. I absolutely loved him. Something that he said that really did hit home to me is it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter what your education, your background, what your mom did, what your dad did, how much money you have, it doesn't matter. You get to change that. You get to do whatever you want. It's totally up to you. You get to change your future, but you have to make that decision. So the people that were on the stage, I think every single one of them was like, I don't have a degree. My parents had no money. Like they built it themselves. And that right there, you got a hell of a story when you have something like that to share. So again, I have a ton of notes, but I'm just going to hit the things that really hit home for me. You have to get a lot of failure. Okay. To be successful, you have to get a lot of failure. It tells you where not to go. Like, I can't even tell you how much that speaks to me. The example he gave was, there's a hot stove. Somebody tells you it's hot. You're still going to touch it because you'll want to see if it's actually hot. But guess what? The second you touch it, you're never going to touch it again. So you kind of got to test it out for yourself. And I guess if I relate this to the business, guys, I work my business like 95 to 98% social media. You don't have to do the same thing. If it's not working for you, go do parties, go open your mouth, go blitz people. I think you should still do that anyways. I do stuff like that. I just spin it around a little differently. So figure out how to relate this to you, figure out how to relate the things that we're saying to your business. This was pretty crazy. So if you don't use it, you will lose it. If you listen to somebody speaking like me now, if you're just sitting there listening to me, you're going to retain 10% of everything that is said. If you're writing down notes, you are going to retain 50% of the things that are said. If you are bringing energy to it and you're moving and you're excited and you got music, and guys, it's like up to like 80 or 90%. So like, have fun with your business. Have fun. Be excited. When you watch Zooms, don't just watch them. Write stuff down and then go apply it to your business and get to work and put all this stuff that you're learning into play. train yourself. You've got to train your energy to be high, and it's so demanding. It is training. And I'm going to kind of get into the next thing real quick, but we all get what we tolerate. Do you guys know how many people have come to me and said, I had this person join my team and they suck. Like they aren't doing anything. I've had like the last like 10 people, like they don't do anything, or they're just, you know, they're so like Debbie Downers, and what kind of people are you attracting? Look in the mirror. What are you doing? What's your Facebook page look like? How do you talk to people? Are you boring? Because if you're boring, you're probably going to attract boring people. I'm totally just being real here. So you've got to have that conversation with yourself, or have a conversation with somebody else, and both you guys reflect together. This is probably the number one thing that I think really hit me. Your mind, it's a really powerful thing. Guys, I've been in this business for 5 years. I get that this is a mindset thing. I cannot tell you enough how much, if you get your head wrapped around the fact that you don't give a crap about what other people say, or if Gary V kept saying, I don't hear you, I don't hear you, I don't hear you. And it's so true. I don't give a shit what people say about anything. If they're like, oh, Danielle this or Danielle that, I don't even care. I really, truly, and honestly don't. But I will tell you, before I went diamond, probably before I went emerald, I cared a lot, and it was hard, and it hit me really hard. And I was like, oh man, why are these people unfriending me? Why are these people this? Well, guess what? I'm making 5 figures a month as a stay-at-home mom. I don't have to put my kids in daycare, and I retired as a teacher. I don't care what all you people say. So once you get to that point of, I really don't care, your business is going to skyrocket. And that's what it did for me. So you've got to train your mind. It's not just going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen overnight. You actually have to have a conversation with yourself, and you have to be non-negotiating. You are not negotiating with yourself. If you're going to do something, you have to do it. So he gave an example about jumping in water. He jumps in freezing cold water every single morning, and he doesn't negotiate with himself and be like, oh my God, it's too cold. Oh my God, I don't know if I want to do this today. He doesn't negotiate at all. He says he's going to do it, and he does it right then. So what are you doing? What excuses are you making for yourself? So something I put out to my team today is the 7-day no excuses challenge. It's no excuses verbally and no excuses up here. I challenge you to do this, because if you really do it and you give your 100% effort for 7 straight days, I can promise you, you're going to change as a person, and it's going to change your outlook on a lot of things. And I don't just mean with your business. I mean you as a person as well. So whether it be something personal with your family, whatever, I promise you, if you push 7 days hard for no excuses verbally and in your head, it's going to change your mindset. All right. I think I had one more thing, or maybe not. Focus on one part of your life that excites you. You need the most muscles when it's hard. So when things are hard in life, it's going to take more effort to put yourself forward. And I could sit here and give you examples, but I'm not going to. You've got to have a constant sense of growth. You have always got to be moving forward. And that's why us as leaders, we say you've got to be consistent. You've got to do something consistently every single day to work your business. If you know what you want, and you have the tools, then go get to work. Guys, do you know what you want? Because we're giving you all the tools. We all have the same tools. So go get to work. Set a 6 list every single day. Set your goals. Know what needs to be done. And you've got to go. You've just got to move forward. Okay. That was pretty much me in a nutshell. The last thing was I had my team do a challenge to write down 3 things. I can share this picture with you guys. Number 1, what does an extraordinary life look like for you at the next level? Just 6 to 10, 12 months. It's not anything crazy. Write that down. Number 2, what's preventing you from making that happen? Number 3, what needs to shift? What actions can you take to change that? I challenge you to do that before the end of the night and share that with somebody. So, all right, I'm shutting up. I'm moving on to Leslie. Leslie is a rock star leader on my team who I absolutely adore, and she went with me yesterday, and we just were so fired up together. So I'm going to hand it over to Leslie and let you share your top stuff. Let me unmute you. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm totally exhausted having listened to you.
Sorry.
Like, oh my gosh. But it was all good. And it's interesting. You touched on pretty much all of the different speakers. And I didn't know if that's what you wanted us to do or not.
I have no plan. I have no goal. You totally just speak from your heart for a couple minutes.
So one of the things that was critical for me, and I have been dealing with something in my life where I am in a position where I have to make a very difficult decision. And having walked away from this conference, I knew immediately what it was that I had to do. So that was probably really, really critical for me. I'm going to say, yes, we offer a lot of trainings, and yes, we have opportunities for people to grow and learn from our own boot camps and workshops and so on and so forth. But when you have the opportunity to go listen to other speakers who are incredibly successful, especially in the business world, I would strongly suggest that you do it. One of the things that Robert says was, and it hit home for me, is everybody wants a better life. Every single individual sitting in that room wants a better life. And I would be willing to bet that every single one of us right now in this Zoom wants a better life. That's why we're doing what it is that we're doing. So again, it doesn't matter where you're starting. The point is get started. And then one of the other things he said was nobody cares in business. When you embrace a challenge, you embrace what it is you're doing, nobody cares. And we have a tendency to listen to all the negativity that impacts our lives, especially since there's so much negativity almost on social media, which is what a lot of our platforms are. But nobody cares. Nobody cares about your drama. Nobody cares about, your struggles. That's not necessarily true. But nobody cares because what they want from you is value. They want you to add value to their life. So we can do that through the opportunities that we provide, and we can also do that through the product that we offer. One of the other things that I really, really liked is always move forward. It doesn't matter where you're starting. The point is that you always need to be moving forward, especially in your journey. And what every single speaker spoke about, and it was constant throughout the entire day, was really your success is based on 3 to 4 different things, and belief is one of them. And if you don't have a belief in yourself, and if you don't have a belief in what it is that you're doing, that is definitely going to be an obstacle that is in your way that you are going to have to overcome. And action is the other part to it. So we have to believe. Our belief is great, but action is better. We all have the same 24 hours. It's what we do in those 24 hours that's going to make a difference. And one thing that Robert said that I loved was, it is better to be rich than well rested. Because I know when I first started, I was like, oh, I'm so tired, because I work a full-time job. I'm a teacher, and that in and of itself is exhausting. But then I started realizing that I do want so much more for my life, and not just my life, but my family's life, and the people in my life. And so it's just better to be rich than well rested. So, and that goes along with the massive action. You've got to take massive action in order for you to move forward. And then results was the other part of it. And with results, with the action, if something's not working for you, you've got to change it. So you've got to be a constant learner, and you've got to find what it is that's working for you in order for you to be successful. So that's why it's so incredibly important to have a very clear, defined purpose. What is the purpose of you doing what it is that you're doing? What are your beliefs that you're carrying into it? Because your beliefs are either going to stop you or they're going to push you forward. And then your action, you want to have massive action and know that you've got the same 24 hours as the next person. And results, meaning I need to know where it is that I'm going and how it is that I'm going to get there. And, and the other thing, failure, oftentimes I think we see failure as something that's negative and something that we truly and honestly don't want to do, and we don't want to say, oh my gosh, I failed. But really, failure is what's going to push you forward, and failure is what's going to enable you to overcome whatever the challenge you have, especially in your beliefs, so that you can get to the point where you want to be. And then, I mean, seriously, I could talk about this all day, because I swear I have like 20 pages of notes. But bottom line, it's belief, action, results, and what was the other one? What was that last? It's in the Tony one. He had the 4.
Belief, action, results, potentials.
Potential, that's it. And he started off with, how much potential does a human being have? It's unlimited. Everyone has potential, and everyone has unlimited potential. So it's potential, knowing what your potential is, believing in what it is that you are doing, putting forth that massive action, and therefore gaining the results that you want. Because again, ultimately, I'd much rather be rich than rested. And the other thing that I really liked about it is I think sometimes, and I think this might be my teaching background, I did not go into a profession that was going to make me rich, ever. And I didn't think I could ever make money. I didn't think I ever had the ability to make money. I just accepted the fact that I was going to basically be average my entire life. And in this country and in this environment and in this society that we all have the incredible opportunity and the incredible potential to reach and achieve whatever it is that we want to reach and achieve. So really it's up to us and the action that we take and the belief that we have in ourselves in order to have clearly defined purposes and goals and to go after them. So I don't know what else I want to say. Like I said, I think I could talk forever because I think the notes here.
I know. And I think I have like 12 pages of notes or 15. Yeah. So I totally hear you.
Yep.
But okay. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Amanda, I'm going to hand the floor over to you and let you welcome your girls in and share them. And then I'll let you wrap it up.
Okay. Sounds good. So I see Chelsea on here right now, and then I have Rachel, and then I saw Courtney on here too. I don't know if Courtney can talk, but Chelsea, do you want to give, are we doing 5 aha moments or just kind of give some of your aha moments that you felt were just so valuable that you just left it like, oh my gosh, that was business and life changing.
Yeah, I'm like emotionally exhausted. I'm not going to lie. Like going yesterday was the most incredible experience of my life, not one of my lives. I only have one. But I went in yesterday kind of with an open mind. I haven't read a lot of Tony Robbins. I've heard a lot about him, but my husband has been a huge follower on him, and he's just like, this is going to be incredible if he's really here. Of course, my husband didn't think he was going to actually show up, but he was, so it's great. I have a lot of notes, too, like a lot. The whole day was incredible. One of the biggest things that I want to say is with the new year coming up, 80% of people have the same resolution every single year. And that's because they never met their goal the first time. They set a goal and then they give up. And so it's really easy for people to just quit. And we're at that point where it's like, okay, well, why are we facing the same problem all the time? It's because we quit. So keeping that in mind for our business, knowing that, next year people are going to be going for the same goals, meaning like weight loss or things like that. And so we just need to start, talking to the people who keep making the same resolutions and saying, hey, this is how we're going to, lose our weight, or this is how we're going to actually build your business, get out of debt and everything like that. So that was something for me that I thought was very important. One of the other things that I thought was super cool, and only because this was an aha moment for me, is I suffer from anxiety. I get anxiety all the time, like almost every day, and I don't know what triggers it. I don't like taking medication because that scares me. And so it's really funny. My doctor even told me, he's like, of course you don't take it because you get anxiety about it. So I did have anxiety when I was at Tony Robbins because of the amount of people that were there. And I literally, he was sitting there and he was having us do an exercise about how you can sit there and think back on your thoughts about the times when you were last happy, or like what made you laugh so uncontrollably that, you just had to sit there and to change your mood, change your environment. It's something you can do like that, is like you have a bad day and something you can think about to change your mood. And it's so fast. And it literally, thinking about these things brought me out of anxiety. And I just was like standing up and I was like, holy crap, I feel so good all of a sudden. It was just incredible. So for me, I work in a stressful environment. I come home sometimes to a stressful environment. I have a 3-year-old. And I thought that was really cool that I have the power to control my emotions easier than I thought I did. And so I love that. That was something for me, and that's just personal, but that's one of my aha moments. Another thing is that I took from this. Hold on, I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of good points. 1 second. I got one quote I wrote down was, impossible is not a fact. It's actually an opinion. It's only impossible until someone else does it. And I thought that was an incredible thing to say, because we did an exercise where we had to point our fingers. I don't know if you guys remember that, where you had to turn and twist your body around to see how far you can point your finger. And then you close your eyes and you visualize it. You just visualize you pointing your finger farther. And when you do it again, you actually go farther than what you did the first time. It's not because you just didn't either know that you could do it or you didn't try hard enough. And so you're like, well, why didn't I give it 100% the first time when I know I can do it? So to me, that was also something, it's like, it's in you. You know you can do it if you visualize yourself doing it. But when you initially do it, you don't do it like you should the first time, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. But to me, it's like visualizing your success. You have the potential because you know you have it. That's why you join this business. You know you have the potential to do the things that you want to do. You talk to the people you want to talk to. But in your head, you have to get there. You have to set that mindset and be like, hey, I can do these things. And when you do it and you actually see that you can do it, you do it. And it's incredible. So that was another thing that I took. 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. Another aha moment for me is also when I can't even think of his name. Robert, no, that was him from. So Robert, the guy from Shark Tank, was there, and you guys talked about him a little bit already as well. He's like this cute little guy, by the way. His backstory is incredible. The things that he's overcome, his family sounds amazing. And he's just a really humble guy. And so he was talking a lot about his why. And he's like, what works in your business and the reason why you do things is your why. That's your purpose. That's why you did this. And so he talked about this Cadillac that he got for his dad. Actually, he ended up purchasing it, but his dad didn't know that he did it. And so for him, that was his big aha moment. He knew he was trying to strive for more his whole life. And as soon as his dad sat behind that Cadillac, it gave me chills when he talked about it, just because it's just one of those things. Like, that's when he knew that what he was doing was what he was supposed to be doing. That's why he was successful. That's why he worked so hard and he overcame so many battles. So your why has got to be, for you to be a successful person, has to be on your brain all the time. As soon as you get there, you keep growing. You know what I mean? But that was another aha moment for me. I'm sorry, I had a lot, you guys. This thing was incredible. 1 second. I wish I was more organized. I didn't have a lot of time. I'm sorry.
We did this so short notice, so you are totally fine. I think this is just amazing. Just the little tips that, ahas that, you guys have had.
Oh, another one to me, just to show you guys, about the energy that we did yesterday. We were jumping up and down. We were dancing. We were literally massaging complete strangers. Like we were like, the whole thing was incredible. And just to give you an idea of how crazy these things are and why you should always go to something outside your comfort zone, is Tony Robbins was talking about a time that he did an event. He was a 12-hour event. And in that 12 hours, he burned 13,500 calories in one event. If you can imagine how much we did yesterday. That's probably also why I'm physically and emotionally exhausted. I'm not going to lie. But that's one of the things that you should go for. I had wrote that down because I thought that was incredible. Execution trumps power every single day of the week. I have that as a quote in my book. If you haven't gotten the results you want, it's because you're dabbling. If you want results, you must master it. I have that written down as well. So research everything that you want to do when it comes to marketing and getting yourself out there and getting outside your comfort zone. Definitely talk to your upline, talk to your people, reach out and try to master your skill that you're trying to do. And then I guess my last one, because I feel like I have a million, is to get out of your head. Like, honestly, this whole thing, in there was like 5 or 6 speakers, and every single one of them had talked about the reason why we aren't successful is because we have something in our head holding us back. Whether it be our family doing it, or you're just not feeling like you're good enough, or you're tired, or you just don't have the energy at all, or you just don't have the belief. It's all in your head. And just like that, like you just got to believe that you can do it. You got to see yourself doing it, and you got to say, I will do this. This is what I am doing. There's no try. This is why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and I'm going all in. And so I just that's all I really have right now, because otherwise I'm gonna go through a whole novel. But it was so incredible, guys. I had so much fun, and I couldn't thank Courtney. She's the one that told me he was coming, and so I was like, I'm in, I'm going, sure, let's do it. So that's my story. I hope you guys learned something.
Thank you so much. That was so awesome. I loved it. It really was incredible. It was my first event too, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I will never, if I'm here, like I will always go to like one of these events. I was even gonna look like and see like if there's like California or like places close to Vegas or something, you know, because I just think it's so awesome. Oh,
yes,
thanks for
posting. I know he's going to Vegas, so
He is?
I'm not gonna go to a 3-day. Yeah, he's doing a 3-day event in Vegas, I believe.
Oh, okay. So I had to leave like an hour early, so I'm hoping that if I miss anything, like I think it was like an hour and a half early we had to leave. But okay, so let's see, I saw Rachel on here, and then Courtney. Oh, hi Rachel, do you want to go? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Hi.
You want me to go? Yeah?
Yeah, you or Courtney, whoever wants to go next.
Okay, so I'll just go. I took down so many notes, you guys. When I got home last night, I was literally exhausted. Like, I got on the couch and I was like passed out. I could not move. Like, the energy in there was crazy. And then like just the jumping around and everything. And I came home and I was like, I want to tell my husband and my mom about it, but I have to wait. Like, I have to lay down for a second. But anyways, I took so many notes, so I'm just going to kind of go through, like, I feel like the whole thing to me was like a big aha moment. Like, there wasn't even just one moment where I was like, oh, that stands out. Like, it was like everything was standing out to me. So Robert, a couple things, like you guys have already mentioned it a little bit, but his story was so amazing. Like, I want to go and look for it on YouTube and see if I can find it, because his story was just so incredible. Like, you know, I think it came to full circle when he was telling his story about like how he got his dad that Cadillac. Like, that was like his dream, you know. And then the other thing that he had mentioned is he said a goal without a timeline is just a dream. That is one thing that hit me so hard. I was like, okay, you know, if we don't have you know, a timeline for our dream or our goals, or like when we want it to come true, like, you know, it's just a dream. It doesn't have a set time frame. And so that really hit home to me. And then he was just saying, like, make it purposeful. So like for him, it was the Cadillac, you know, whatever you are working for, or, you know, your reason why, make sure that it's purposeful. Like, think about it, you know, like they were saying, you know, Tony Robbins had us think, you know, like what like think of a moment that drives you, or, you know, think of like a proud moment. He would like make us think of these different moments. And so anytime like I think like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, or like, oh, I don't want to send out these messages or whatever, I always go back to my why. And that was something that Robert had said. Another person that spoke that I really didn't know if I was going to get anything from him, but I totally got a lot from him, was Stephen, and I don't even know how to say his last name. It's like Sikowski or something like that. He spoke on stocks, but he actually told a lot of good little tips. So he said, you have one life, make a plan and execute it, but stick to the plan. He was saying, like, broke people, they watch TV. Wealthy people are doing things to feed their mind. They're reading, they're exercising, they're doing things that's gonna, you know, wake up like your insides, your body, I don't know. But and then he said, let me see. Sorry, I have so many notes here. So he said, be real, always be the student. He said, the wealthier the person, like, the more questions need to be asked. So basically, like, follow the right cat. You know, whoever you're following, if they're making good money and if they're doing good, like, ask more questions, because you want to follow their lead. Like, you want to go in the direction that they're going. And then there was another thing that he said. Wait. Sorry. I actually think it was Gary Vee who said what I was going to say, but no. So Stephen said all this, you know, be real. You have one life, stick to the plan. And then another quote that he said, and I forget who he said it, but it said, I want to go to bed richer than when I woke up. So that was like a quote that, you know, do something every single day that is going to increase your income. But so Gary Vee is actually the one that really spoke to me. So he said, rich people thinking like versus poor. Rich people will say, I create my life, versus like poor thinking or poor people thinking is life happens to me. So you have to believe that you are the one to create your success. Victims blame everyone else and they justify and they complain. That spoke to me so much. I was like, I don't want to be the victim anymore. No more complaining, no more justifying the situation. You know, this is what victims do. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So he said like attracts like. So if you're constantly like complaining, or if you're you know, like you're just bringing that into your business. Whatever you're putting out there, you're bringing in. So like attracts like. He did give us the challenge to not complain for 7 days. So today, every time I like caught myself complaining, I'm like, I'm not doing it, not doing it. And then another quote that he said is, there's no such thing as a really rich victim. And then he said, rich people play the money game to win, versus poor people play to do not lose. Rich people want both, and then poor people, they want either or. They go for either or. And so I thought that was really cool. He said, your thoughts makes your feelings, makes your actions, makes results. So however your thoughts are. But yeah, he was so amazing. If you guys don't follow him on social media, he's so awesome, Gary Vee. And then of course, Tony Robbins was just like amazing in itself. Let's see. So he said, emotions are the ultimate resource. Some of the things he said was creativity, commitment, determination, certainty, flexibility, connection, compassion, and vision. If you succeed in winter, you will dominate life in every season. That was another thing that stood out to me. And then 2 questions that he said, you must know in business: who is your ideal customer, and what is your irresistible offer? And let's see. If something's not working, you know, you have to create new results. So it says new results, you need new action and new behavior. That really spoke to me too, because constantly I'm going to Amanda and I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know if this is working, and it's okay. That's one of the things I learned yesterday, is like, it's okay to change your route. If something's not working, change it up. You know, if you want different results, you have to, and Pam Sutter actually posted about it too. She said, you know, you would be a triple diamond if you were working like a triple diamond, or you were working 24/7 or something like that. And it's so true. It's just like, you need to put the action out there. And I just learned really that mindset is just everything, 100% almost. And, you know, if you want something, just don't be afraid, go full force, and just, yeah. So that's pretty much what I learned. I don't know if you guys got anything from that. It was all jumbled, but I have a ton of notes in here too. And so everything was just amazing.
I love that. No, that was really, really good. You took some of my stuff. No, I'm just joking. I have my notes. I'm like, well, you covered that. I feel like because we are in the same business and we go through the same struggles. That's what I love, is that like we all go through like the same struggles. And so I think like certain things just were like, oh my gosh, that's so like, I needed to hear that, you know? And I think that we probably all can relate to that because we go through the same struggles in this business. But the amazing thing is, you know, you see like, just because like somebody starts out like, you know, beginning and they might be struggling, that person who is a diamond or double or triple or prez or ambassador, they have gone through those same struggles as well, but they still made it to the top. You know what I mean? So we just get through those struggles. And so everything you said was amazing. So thank you. All right, Court, are you able to chat?
Hey, Hennies. How are you guys? All right. Sorry. I kind of been off and on because I have all 3 of the kids. So hopefully I'm not repeating anything. I think the resounding message for me was like, we are all always tuning into trainings and looking for more because we know we need to grow. But what is stopping us from like growing? So he's saying that, you know, we went because we want more, but what is going to limit us from leaving here and not applying anything that we just learned? And I think it's so true. I think so many of us will sit on Zooms each week. We'll listen to motivational speakers on YouTube. We'll read all the books in the world, but are we applying it? Like, it means nothing if you're not applying it. And Tony Robbins talked about, you know, the 3 levels of mastery: intellectual, like, you have to, it's not just enough to know it. Like, you have to understand it. You have to understand what you're reading. You have to understand why we're giving certain scripts and why that works. You have to understand what you're learning in order for that to be mastery. And then emotional mastery, feeling it. And I think some of us struggle with that, like feeling it and knowing your vision and knowing where you're going. And then the last one was, what was the last one? Was it physical mastery? Hold on, let me check that real quick. I have pregnancy brain and I am tired. Yeah, physical mastery. And I loved, hold on, I'm coming back. I loved that one because he told the story of Michael Jordan. So here we are, like, some people might think that Amanda, like, is just so lucky. Like, oh my gosh, she's so lucky. She averages like $20,000 a month. She's so lucky that she can buy a boat. I can say this because you're my best friend, but she's just so lucky. And it's not luck. Like, behind someone's success is a ton of freaking work. And he talked about Michael Jordan shooting 1,500 hoops a day. He would not stop shooting until he got 1,500 shots every single day in the off season. Every single day for every year he was in the NBA, he made 1,500 baskets a day, guys. No one talked about that. No one talked about that in the regular games you saw him play. No one talked about that when you heard him interview. But we just assume, oh, he's just so naturally gifted. He was just born being this amazing shooter that can shoot free throws with his eyes closed. I remember being 10 years old in awe of him when he was like playing the Suns in the playoffs, you know? So know that behind every successful person was a lot of work. And how did they get there? I loved, I forget who said it. I think it was Gary. It might've been someone else that the best equalizer is 24 hours in a day, guys. We all have 24 hours. We all have the same amount of time. How are we spending it? What are we doing with our time? And what are we doing with like the talents that we have? And I loved Gary talking about, you know, kind of, we just need to get over ourselves. I got a video of it and he was literally like, we're not in, he said effing, but we're not in freaking high school anymore. And you hear about that so much, like we're afraid to do live videos because what if our hair wasn't perfect? What if we have wrinkles underneath our eyes? What if our kids come in screaming? What if we say something wrong? I can't tell you how many live videos I've flopped because I forget what I'm saying. Like, but he's like, who cares? You guys need to get over the fact that you guys are not in high school anymore and no one cares. Like, you got to not care. You got to put your fingers in your ears and just not care about what people are saying, what people are thinking. Because you know what? I don't know who was talking because my kids were talking, but she's a teacher too. Danielle on your team. And I love that because, you know, I joined this business when I was a teacher going through a divorce. And you're right. Like, a teaching salary is not like anyone's plan A. And I was supporting 2 kids on that because I was going through a divorce after 10 years. So we all have like the opportunity to grow. If I would have let people's opinions of me and like doing a social media job get to me, guys, I would still be teaching like 12 hours a day. I wouldn't be having my 4th baby right now and being able to be home with my 16-month-old. So there comes a time where we just have to say, like, it doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter people's opinions of us because they're always going to have their opinions. I forget who else said this too, but they were saying, like, you know, people always say, like, it must be too good to be true. Like, if people are making, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 in this business, it must be too good to be true. Well, then he's like, so what? We just go with crappy ideas? Like, let's just do the crappiest idea because this idea seems too good to be true. So let's just do crappy ideas that we know we're going to fail at, or we know that don't work. He's like, it just doesn't make any sense, you know? I'm trying to read the comments too. my girls are coming in because they hear me like getting passionate about what I'm talking about. No, I'm not. They thought I was yelling. Go watch TV. So I just loved like just the resounding theme of like getting out of our own heads, like actually taking in and applying every day what we're learning. And how do we do that? Like we can make up a bazillion excuses, but when are we going to start waking up earlier and actually doing it? When are we going to get off the couch and work out rather than just like watch workout videos? When are we going to like apply what we're learning, and so we can see our lives grow? And I think that, and one other thing that really touched my heart. What do you need? Okay, I'll get you something in a second. I was waiting for them to leave the room. I don't know if someone mentioned this, but I loved Tony Roberts' story of like, first, not Gary, but it was Robert that talked about, sometimes we have like really, really hard things that happen in our life. And rather than letting that like paralyze us, and sometimes we don't know why it's going on, and it takes looking back in hindsight to connect those dots of our life, like when his mom died and when, he's going through all these hard things, to know that like, okay, that led me to meet my wife, that led me to be on Dancing with the Stars, that led me to all these amazing things that propelled me into this businessman that I am. But we all go through these like really hard things, and we can let it make us completely stagnant or just bury us, or we can grow from it. And I loved when Tony Robbins was talking about, Oprah Winfrey. He had said that her mom had gotten pregnant with her at 13. By the time that she was that age, she had, I'm not going to be able to tell the whole story. Danielle, you're going to have to type it into the comments. But basically she had a really, 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 really rough life. Like you look back on her life, Danielle, you'll have to type it for me. She had an incredibly rough life. And I didn't even know until he was telling that story that was what had happened in her early years of life. But look who she became. Like she did not let those moments define her. She grew from them, and she was able to then find purpose in them. And that is part of the physical mastery of your life. Like you're able to take all these things in your life, the knowledge that you've obtained, the emotions that you've obtained, you're able to turn it into a physical purpose in your life. Tony Robbins is a living testament of that. With his mom being abusive and having, 4 dads and just being abused growing up, like he could have let that completely stunt him, or he woke up on the days he didn't want to get out of bed. He pushed on the times that he was tired. And guys, this applies to all of us because we all go through those things. It might not be as intense as Oprah Winfrey's story, but guys, we all have bad days. And what's going to propel you to keep going? What's going to give you that initiative when you don't want to get out of bed to get out of bed each day? When are we going to start using the tools that we've been given? Because we've been given such incredible tools, and it all starts in here. So that was a resounding message. It's all in here. This is our biggest battle. It's our own self and our own head. So that was what I got from it.
Thank you, Court. That was so good. I loved it.
You're welcome, sugar.
It was
Thank
really
you for typing that. I was like, that's
yeah.
to come out right now.
Yeah, no, it was so good. I didn't know that was Oprah's story either. And when he was talking about it, and then like towards the end, like when he was saying that she was so successful, I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I was like teary-eyed. I was like, holy cow, like I already loved her. And I knew like part of those things, but I didn't know like the full extent,
Yeah.
So what an amazing, amazing story that she was able to gain purpose from.
And it just makes you think like, wow, like, like that is just so drastic compared to most of our situations, our lives, our childhood. Like that is just so, so extreme compared to like what we think is just so like, we complain about, or we think that we're like, oh man, I can't do this. I can't send these messages out because I'm working full time, or I have 2 jobs, or I have, 3 kids. I work, I have kids, I have this and this. And, but in all reality, those are just excuses. If we really want it, right, we can make it happen. And so no matter what situation we're in, even if our one thing that, and I have my notes too, but one thing that they were saying is like, you know, even if like when Danielle was talking about the can't hear you, like I can't hear you. So even if like your spouse is completely negative about like this business or about, you know, what we're doing or what you do, or, you know, you just got in this business and you haven't really made, you know, too much money yet, and you're hearing all this negativity, you just tune him out or her out, and you just think, you know what, I can't hear you. Like, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for a family, and hopefully they will see that in the end. But right now we just tune them out and we can't hear them. And I love that so much, because a lot of times we make our why our excuse. Oh, I'm doing this for our kids. I'm doing this so I can have more time. Yet we don't do the business because we are like, oh, I have to, you know, get the kids to bed, or I have to do this, or I have to do this. Well, yes, you do. Obviously, our children come first, but we find a way to work it. So if we have to put our kids to bed, then guess what? We stay up a little bit later to work. And so one thing that I loved is that it was Robert, how do you say his last name? Robert H. You know, I call him Shark Tank guy. But what I loved about what he said is that he said some people may, you know, have an easier way doing it. It may come natural to them, or they may grow up and have like, you know, just things that were kind of handed to them, or they just may have it easier. He was like, I did not have it easier. So when I was comparing myself, oh, well, how are they more successful? How do they have this? How are they getting it faster than I am? How are they making more money than I am? He simply said, you know what, stop making excuses. I'm going to keep my vision straight, and I'm going to work harder. That's what I'm going to do. If I want to have what they have, like, I am going to work harder. And so what did he do? He was a busy person. He didn't have a lot of time. So where did he pull and was able to work harder? He started sleeping 4 hours. He started like lacking less sleep. And the thing is if you guys have read the book Miracle Morning, it is literally sleep. Like, our bodies, we don't need 8 hours of sleep. We tell our bodies we need 8 hours of sleep. And so our body needs 8 hours of sleep, but we don't need 8 hours of sleep. We need as much as our mind tells us our body needs, but we physically do not need 8 hours of sleep. And so if you can budge and maybe wake up earlier or go to bed 2 hours later, and instead of getting 8 hours of sleep, you get 6 hours of sleep, let's just say for 90 days or 60 days, or 90 days or 6 months or an entire year. Can you imagine getting 2 more hours of work in every single day for an entire 6 months to a year? Can you imagine what your business would look like? And so that's what he was saying. He's like, it doesn't matter if somebody may have gotten it easier or faster, or however they're making more. It doesn't matter. That's not my story. So if I want that, I need to work harder. So I need to figure out a way to do that. And so I loved that he said that, and it made me think, like, because that's what I am a true believer in that. If you don't have the time, you figure out where you're going to get the time. If you want to spend time like with your family during this Christmas holidays, which we all do, obviously, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to go to bed earlier or wake up or go to bed later or wake up earlier. So that's my plan. My plan is a 4-hour schedule this coming December. So I love that. I love the part that he said, I just can't hear you. Like, that stuck out so much. And I'm like, I want the entire team to hear this. And I know it's difficult when we first start, because we do care what people think. We do care. And it's in our nature. But if you just thought, why? Why do I care what their opinions are? Because they don't pay our bills. So I can't hear you. I can't hear you if you tell me I'm doing an amazing job. I can't hear you if you tell me I'm doing a crappy job, because my vision is so straightforward and I know why I'm doing this. So I love that. Absolutely. The other thing I loved, and I don't know if Danielle said this because I had to go in the other room with my little one, but they said there's no failure. You will not have failure in this business, you guys, unless you stop it. That's the only way you will fail this business, is if you completely quit or you completely stop. And I say that all the time, like, it's okay if you didn't quite make that rank this month. It's okay if you did not, get to your goal that you wanted this month, as long as you gave it your best, you gave it your all, why you didn't get there, and then next month you work even harder to get there. Or you figure out, okay, why didn't I get there? And you change, like kind of what Rachel was saying, you change your, what you're doing. You change, the actions. Okay. And so I absolutely love that. So, and it's okay if you busted your butt this month and you gave it your all, guess what? Next month, you're even that much closer to a promotion. So I don't think she's on here, but my girl Britt, like she just signed up. She got to Ruby last month. Her goal was Emerald this month. She's not on here, but you know what? And she was like, man, I didn't get my goal, but I'm like, girl, like you are mapped for Emerald and you're one step closer to getting Emerald next month. Like that's how we want to think, like, and not think, oh man, I didn't get it. Like now I'm going to quit. And no, we think, okay, that's awesome. Like I ended this month strong, but I'm going to do this differently this month. I think Rachel said this, always be the student and always willing to learn. And I think that that's one thing that we all need to know is like, no matter how long you've been in this business, like we all need to be learning something at least once a day, like educating ourselves. And what I'm really trying to pour into my, diamonds and, and above is leadership, like, studying leadership, because we listen to Zooms, we listen to, motivational stuff. We listen to all kinds of self-development, but are we studying leadership? And that's something we should be studying from day one. So I thought that was really good. Let me see if I said something. I did want to touch about, influence. So influencing, if you have a distributor underneath you, you are an influencer, right? You are a leader. You are a leader, even if you're not executive yet. Like you are a leader. You brought somebody onto your team, and you are now considered an influencer. Okay. So two things that good influencers are, compared to people who aren't very good influencers are one, your state and your your mental state. So for instance, like if, and I think it was Robert, Shark Tank guy, who said this. I just loved him. But anyways, he said, you know what? If somebody asks me, hey, how are you doing? I'm going to say, I'm great. I'm amazing. Even if he's not, like if he had a really bad day and he just, arguing with his spouse, or he, just had a rotten day, like, all this stuff comes. If somebody asks him when he had the worst day ever, hey, how are you doing? Guess what he's going to say? I'm doing so good. Like I'm doing great, because he wants, to always be that influencer. So if you have a team underneath you, if they know when you're struggling, like if they know that you're in a bad mood, or if they know that like you're just having a crappy day because you're putting it all over social media, or you're letting your team know, that's not being a very good influencer. We as influencers should always be so positive, so, happy and willing to just put any kind of leadership out there when our team needs us, because what's going to happen is if we spread all of our negativity out, to everyone else, nobody's going to want to be influenced by us. So I thought that was really good. Emotion is fueled by emotion. I thought that was really good. Let me see. We can't control our events, but we can control our reactions. And I thought that was so good for this business as well, because we can't control what our team underneath us is doing. We can't control if they're not going to, push like we're pushing, or they can't control that, we can't control, if we have a Ruby that quits, or an executive quits, or we just signed up a distributor and they're not getting back to us. We can't control certain events, but we can definitely control the way we react to those events. So we can say, you know what, that's fine. That Ruby wants to quit. Guess what? I'm going to go build another Ruby. Or that's fine. You know what? That distributor is not going to get back to me. Guess what? I'm going to go sign up another distributor who does want this. So we are in control of our reactions. And it's plain and simple. And your success is literally up to you. It's not up to anybody else but yourself. And if certain events do happen, it's like what Rachel was saying, like we don't make excuses for it. Oh, well, I couldn't get to diamond because my Ruby quit. No, you couldn't get to diamond because you're saying you can't get to diamond. You build another Ruby. You bring other people on who want this. If you want diamond, you get yourself to diamond. That's all there is to it. Your team isn't going to get you there. You get yourself there. And so, so I love that, because we literally are in control 100% of our success. Thanks, Danielle. One more thing. I love the 4 financial seasons that they were saying, and Rachel kind of touched upon this. Winter, you guys, it can be tough. Winter is considered like that tough time, the recession, the depression. And I'm not saying like now, but that's what they call like the winter time. But if you push through those times, if you work so hard during those times, and we can kind of think that, like, we can kind of use that analogy for right now. You know, this is a busy time, right? Like, we are busy people right now. We have holidays, we have all kinds of stuff coming up, and it's just busy. But if you push harder right now, guess what's going to happen? In spring is when it grows, okay? And then in summer, you know, because our business kind of goes and flows, right? So if you work when it is so slow, if you work when it's so dead, or if you work when it's like so, like, nobody else is working, right? Guess what's going to happen? Then in spring, your business starts to grow. And then summertime, again, you're going to go down another, you know, downflow. And that's when you work your butt off again. And then in fall is when you reap that. So it's the same thing like with our business. Like, every day, you guys, it takes that consistency. And so if you are consistent today, it's going to pay off, and you're going to start to grow your business. You're going to start to grow your potentials list. And then what's going to happen? You know, days, weeks, months from now, you're going to start to reap everything that you just sowed, and you just grow, and you're going to start to reap it, because it's going to come, you know, it's going to come alive. But if we're not doing anything now, we can't expect the other seasons to be awesome. And that's what I was telling, you know, I tell my team this, and they're probably sick of hearing this from me, but I'm like, the more you push now in the end of this month and in December, you're going to be reaping those crazy bonuses come conference. You literally are. And I see it time and time again. I'm like an old person in this business, you guys. I've been in it for 5 years. So I see it. I see what happens is people who, my team who push this November and December, guess what happens? February and March, they take advantage of these huge, humongous bonuses, because they did all the work in December, and they're reaping the benefits, and they're promoting, you know, come February and March, they're getting these huge bonuses. And then the people who kind of slack off, well, I'm going to start January 1st. I'm going to hit it hard January 1st. And then, you know, January 1st comes, they start to work, and then huge bonuses come out February, and they're like, man, I want these. Guess what happens? They don't get it, because they weren't doing the work prior. They were not, you know, growing. They were not, you know, sowing what they, you know, their business. And so they had nothing to reap. So, you know, it's just a trickle effect. So if you, like, I hear, you know, it happens all the time. Well, I just had, you know, life just happened. And life does happen. But again, how bad do you want this? Like, how bad do you literally want this? Because even when life happens, you should still be working your business. You should still be consistent with your business. You know, how bad do you want it? Just like Chelsea was saying, like, your why, like, it has to be so much stronger, where when life does happen, that's okay. Because I mean, obviously we deal with life, and it happens, it's going to happen. But you know what? Our business is our business. And if we want it to grow, if we want it to be successful, we still find a way to figure out how to kind of overcome what life is happening, and still, you know, make sure that we're doing what we need to do for our business. Because as soon as we back off, guess what's going to happen? We just, you know, we take one step back, or we stop for maybe, you know, a little bit. That's 10 steps back in our business, right? So that's about it. I mean, I think everyone covered a lot of it, but I don't know. I thought it was just so good. And for me personally, I needed to hear that again, that I needed to figure out, okay, if you want this, Amanda, like, you got to wake up earlier. You know, you got to go to bed later. Like, mentally, you got to prepare yourself for 4 hours these next 90 days if you want ambassador. And so guess what? That's what I'm doing.
You are awesome. I love you. And I just want everyone to hear what she just said about working the business now, working the business these months that are like winter months, hard months, whatever. And then you will reap the benefits of it in February, March, you know, January, February, March, April kind of thing. So, so I think that was really, really important. I think everyone needs to make sure that they hear that. So, but thank you so much, everyone that did share. I hope everybody got something out of it. And those of you that are watching this, it's going to be posted on our team pages, and please share your ahas or anything in the comments so that we can kind of come together on that. So thank you again, everybody. I really appreciate it.